Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Printing's Alive, the podcast with your host, me, Warren Werbit, but you know that already. Today we have another guest that we are welcoming back. We're welcoming back Bill Farquharson from salesvault.pro, not .com, .pro, because he is the professional. Welcome, Bill.
Thanks, Warren. Good to see you, my friend.
Likewise. So Bill's been at it a pretty long time, and he's been educating the salespeople within our industry, or doing his best to educate them in the industry. And I thought today would be a good time because I have some questions for him. So just a little bit. I've owned a print company. I've hired salespeople. I've done thousands of cold calls. And lately I've been back in the game because I've decided that I'm going to help someone in their company grow it. I'm not doing print sales, and I'm not selling snake oil, but a legitimate product for people that I know that I'm calling, and I know that I could save them labor and time and help them make more money. But, and this is where you could help me, and I want to know if it's me or everyone, but nobody answers, nobody return calls, nobody returns email. It made me stop, and it just made me wonder, like, what the fuck is going on out there? Because I'm actually calling people I know, and the message I'm leaving them is, hey, Jack, it's Warren. I need 10 minutes. You know me. I'm not wasting your time. Selfishly, I'm not wasting my time. And come on the phone with me, 10 minutes, hang up on me if you're not happy with what I'm saying, which you won't have to because I'll hang up before you if it's not good. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my, if people know I'm serious, they know I don't waste time, and they're not calling me back, what's everyone doing out there?
So then you called me. Were you driving at the time, or was I driving? But it was this rant. I don't think you even breathed during the whole time.
I called you. You were driving.
That's what it was.
If I was driving, I would have driven off the road.
That's true.
Right?
Yes.
So you've been teaching selling for a long time. What's changed, or what's going on?
You're calling somebody you know. If you're calling someone that you don't know, all right, this is where marketing comes in. So I'll put your issue aside here, just to kind of lay some foundation.
Mm-hmm.
If you're cold calling on somebody, or you're prospecting a call, you have to have a strong message. The purpose of my call is, and it's got to be something about them. You have to do your homework. You got to do some research. You got to look at their website. You've got to tie your solution into their problem. Otherwise, it's blah, blah, blah. All right. I'm getting a lot of bot-generated emails that are scraping my LinkedIn profile. It's making me absolutely crazy. And I'm writing about it in my column this month, as a matter of fact. It's making me nuts. Do your homework. Make a high-quality call. Hey, Bill, you've got this event coming up. I want to help you with that. Here's my phone number. Now, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to go to your LinkedIn profile. If you're calling enough and you're being persistent and you're not going to give up, clearly, they're going to go check you out, because we live in an Amazon world and they want someone to say, no, this is a good guy with a good experience. So they're going to check you out. They want you to have 5 stars. They want you to have referrals and testimonials and things like that. So they're going to go to your LinkedIn profile. If you have a curated profile on LinkedIn, a good profile picture, solid, you've got a chance that they're going to pick up. Chance. But if you don't have that, then you're not going to get through, and you're never going to find out. So they're not going to call you up and say, well, the reason I'm not picking up the phone when you call, Warren, is that I don't like your profile on LinkedIn. But they're going to check you out. You've got a different problem. Okay. It might be that they're saying, this might be a convenient time right now for Warren, but it's not convenient for me. So I think in every single case and situation here, Warren, whether you know them or don't, make the assumption that you are going to talk to them. Make the assumption that you're calling on a future customer, that it's just a matter of time. Now, you're Warren Werbit. You should be infusing your personality.
Exactly.
Right? Like, hey, Bill, I've called you a couple times. Dude, you know I'm not going to stop calling you. So, I mean, that's Warren. That's okay. Be you.
And I'm in the process of having that with someone that I said to them, I left like the 4th message, and I said, really, like, I just need 5 minutes. I said, but I'm going to give you a little heads up. And the person's like, I guess in my bracket of age, I said, buddy, just give you a little bit of an update. I'm old school. I'm not stopping till I get you. And I make it a point to call, regularly. Maybe when he takes me, I won't want to talk to him at that point because I will have beaten him. But no, but it's frustrating. And actually, when I called you last time we were talking, I had this situation where I had someone on the phone. They were kind enough to come on, and we had a 20-minute go through with what I'm talking about. And they're like, whoa, maybe not for me, but I know a couple people I could refer you to. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. That's like the best that you could ask for. And so I send an email a couple of days later and asking them for could you make the referral? I want to make the call. No reply. Second time, no reply. And this is over a month now because I don't want to be that pushy guy every day. And my last reach out was, hey, I know you're busy, but maybe you could just give me the names of the people. I'll call them and mention it's through you that I'm calling. And I ended the email with, hey, not sure if you believe in karma or not, but maybe if you return the call to me, someone will return a call to your salespeople. And I kid you not, 10 minutes later, I got the email with both names. Now, maybe they were sitting at their desk and they had time to do it. I'd like to think that they actually thought for a moment and went, yeah, you know what? He's not wrong. 5 times he called. There's no reason he should be calling 5 times when I told him I'm going to give him something.
So I'll tell you a funny story. This happened. This is an absolute true story. This happened 30 years ago. There was a guy who said to me, hey, Bill, we're going to go with your project. And I want you to give me a couple of weeks because I've got something ahead of you, but then we're going to go with it. The guy's name was Daniel, and he worked for a company down here in Massachusetts called Meditech, Meditech, Meditech. So I gave it a couple of weeks, and I called him, left a message, nothing. Then I called him again, left a message, nothing. Called him again, called him again, called him again, called him. Finally, I'm on the phone, and I left him a voicemail message. I said, you know what, Daniel, go to hell. The fact that you don't call me, you told me to call, I don't understand people like you, all right? I don't want your business. Boom, hung the phone up. 2 months goes by, phone rings, Meditech. So I said, look who the cat dragged in. Daniel, where you been? True story. He said, I've been in a coma. I got in a car accident. I rolled my car. I hit some black ice. I've been in a coma. So me being the salesman, without skipping a beat, I said, all right, you ready to go on that project?
That's like, you're pregnant. How long? Oh, you're not pregnant. Shit. But the end, did he go with the project?
No. You can't, even I can't get away with telling somebody to go to hell and asking for the order. Right? So
that's funny. How bad did you feel after he told you that he was in a coma?
I felt terrible. I felt awful. I wrote him a note. I apologized. It was not cool. I don't get it.
But he had to chuckle too because you're the type of guy that didn't let up. He said something and you kept calling.
Yeah, he wasn't laughing, Warren.
He was just happy to be alive.
All true. But the thing is, I don't understand it, right? If you're not calling me back, I don't care who you are. If I've made multiple calls and I've got something of value to say and you don't call, it's simple. You're not my customer. You don't get to work with me. You don't get to work with me. Sorry. And then I move on because it's not an ego thing, but I know the value that I bring. I know how hard I'm going to work for you. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. I'm the best there is. Why aren't you working with me? That's the attitude with which I sell, not the words that I use, but the attitude with which I sell. So I'm okay saying, look, I've called you 4 times. I know I can help you. This is my last call. I will now leave you alone. You don't get to work with me. That's my bottom line on that.
I like that, except most people aren't going to do that because they're not the best at what they do, so they don't feel that they can move on. No, but even with what I'm doing now, it really is a game changer for certain industry. And I personally live like this, and I get a lot of calls. I take most of the calls. I try to return most of the calls. I'm not perfect. And even if it's to say someone, I appreciate you taking the time, but it's not for me, because I believe that being kind, being nice, polite, and respectful in the universe comes back at you. Right? But maybe I'm wrong. And I
No, I
just
think
want to,
you're right. I think you're right. I think the mistake that we make as salespeople, especially print salespeople, is that they have the bar way down too low, and they say, "Please, I want to save you money. I'm gonna," and that's the worst. Delete that call. Do not return that call. You have my permission. Okay. You want to put the bar up here, and you want to say, "Here's why you want to you want to work with me." Nobody's going to work harder for you. I know your business. I did some homework. This is what I know about you. These are, again, not necessarily the words you're going to use, but my point
right.
is, if you hold the bar up high and say, we're looking for a few good customers, people will rise to it. If you put it too low and you're on your knees saying, please let me quote something, then they're not going to call you back. And if you do, you're just going to be subject to price. And if you get the order, you're going to lose it next time. You are training your customers how to talk to you.
Yeah. Well, so great story live. I can't believe I'm like all of a sudden I'm selling again. I get a call the other day and somebody wanted 100 polo shirts. Now, I'm not selling promo, but I know a couple people that are. So I called up one of the persons and I said, hey, I've got this live one on the hook.
I got a hot one.
I said, you want to I'll do the work, but you want to split the profit. Or you're going to make me join the association. No, we'll split the profit. I said, great. So I call back the person and I ask for information. And then one of the things I say, once I get the information, I say to her, how many people have you called for this? 'Cause she reached out to me online. She goes, a lot. I go, how many? She said, 20. I went, okay, so I need to tell you something. Now you're only 19 because I'm not doing this. I already know what happens. I've had too much experience. It's going out the window. And she says to me, would you please quote? And I went, no. My chances of working with you just went down to this. And she said, actually, I will tell you not. Out of 20 people, you're the only one to call me.
Call me back. Yep. I was waiting for that.
Right now, I brought them a sample the other day of the embroidery. They want premium polo shirts. I said to her, I can't give you a sample until you write the PO. Young marketing guy says that's not how we operate. I said, you know what? I have a good feeling with you. I'll break my rule, but let me tell you why I have the rule. So I explained it, but I'll go and get it and come back to you. And he's like, appreciate it. I'm going to do the 100 t-shirts. That's a $8,000 order, which is kind of crazy. But more importantly, once I was in there, I was like, it's a pretty good company. And I said to the person, oh, what about your labels? Because my brother has a label company and I'm involved with him a little. And he's like, well, let's get this done. I'd be happy to sit with you. Which here I was, 20 people ready to hang up, continued to talk with her. And she said, you're the only one to call me back. I almost fell out of my chair, which then made me think of all these online companies. I'll just plug my book, even though I haven't made a sale in 3 months. When I did the book and I went online for book quotes, and I went out to 8 people because I didn't talk to anyone. Not one company even sent me an email asking me about the quote.
Well,
if everyone's going online, set up your thing to do a reply.
What's amazing, Warren, is the optional is now mandatory. The common courtesies are not common. So returning a phone call, saying thank you for the order, these simple things that you do out of common courtesies are extraordinary. Calling somebody back quickly, extraordinary. You think
immediately.
They're not your competition, or maybe even you're not doing anything extraordinary. These aren't, holy cow, I never thought of that type of ideas. This is basic stuff that your parents and grandparents taught you.
By the way, even when I call back right away and the person says, oh, you called back so quick. I said, truthfully, I called back because I didn't want to forget. So at least I got a laugh out of them at the same time as the call, and I'm starting my relationship. Yeah. It's not just business.
Yep. You can't tell someone to trust you. You can act trustworthy. And part of trustworthy is returning phone calls quickly, saying to someone, I will call you on Wednesday, and then call them on Wednesday and leave your voicemail message. Hey, Warren, Bill Farquharson, I told you I was going to call you on Wednesday. Here I am. I just made and kept the first promise I ever made to you. Let your personality out. Don't be someone that you're not. You don't, by the way, you don't need to be Warren Warburton. You don't need to be Bill Farquharson. You be you. So if you're a quiet person, you think I'm not the sales type, that's fine. There's people who want to buy from you that don't want to buy from us. That's why it takes a village. You be you, and you will find your market.
So I think to start, if you're just kind and courteous, you have a good way. So just quickly, because we mentioned LinkedIn before, you deal with a lot of salespeople. I'm going to insult them all, but are most of them just stupid because they don't even set up their LinkedIn after COVID to know what to do? And why do salespeople have their Gmail account in their contact? I think they're all looking for other jobs.
They may have they may have created a LinkedIn profile because they were told to, but they haven't looked at it in a while. They're losing business because they haven't curated it. They have 25 contacts. It's more powerful than you think it is. But I get back to my statement earlier, Warren. No one's going to tell you I'm not doing business with you because I don't like your LinkedIn profile. They're just going to ignore you.
Right.
So you'll never know, but you heard it from me.
So what are some people doing to reach people?
Marketing is the new sales. Tell stories.
Half the marketing I see isn't. So, oh my God, marketing. And actually, it's going to be out. I was talking to someone the other day. It's going to be a video. The other night, Saturday night, I'm in bed, whatever. I'm watching YouTube and I'm embarrassed to say it, but I'm watching a couple printing companies that came up on the feed.
You're such a nerd. You are such a nerd.
Anyways, I'm looking at one. Wait, what's worse is there's someone next to me in bed. So I'm watching one and I'm starting to oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this. So I finally go to the description and it said, and the year's 2015. And I went, oh my God, thank God. That's 10 years ago. I get it. And then I'm watching another one and I go to the description and I kid you not, it was uploaded 2 weeks ago. And I am losing my shit. Machines, which aren't even new, dirty shop, up close images of whatever, talking about saving the customer money, discounts, everything wrong that we're doing today. And I'm actually going to do a piece on it and call them out. I wasn't going to, but they went public with their video, so I'm just going to critique it. We've got some really good companies that take the time, the energy for good video, proper editing. Editing isn't as hard as it used to be. Why are these companies not just closing, the loop on what they're doing?
They're doing what they've always done. And if they do that, they're going to get what they've always gotten.
Nothing.
They're going to be winning jobs on price. They're not going to get the phone ringing. This is what makes it your first dollar should be spent on marketing, not sales. And keep in mind, that's coming from a sales trainer, somebody who makes there's money when you hire someone and you want me to train them.
Well, I'll just, as a former owner of a company, if you don't do the marketing, you're setting your salespeople up to fail.
Yes.
Bottom line. And if you do the marketing, you're creating the leads without knowing that you're creating the leads for them.
Yes. Look.
So why are people so stupid?
It doesn't have to be that complicated. I'm not plugging this company.
No.
In Franklin, Tennessee, there's an Alpha Graphics. Look up their marketing. Go to their website, look up their marketing. Franklin, Tennessee, Alpha Graphics. There's a guy there. His name is Daniel Dovel, Dovel. He has since split out and started his own company called Blue Vine Marketing. I discovered Daniel, and I used to say to people, this is how you do it. You know what he does, Warren? He zips into the frame like this. He looks at the camera. He says one thing about printing, and then he zips out. I can't do it. I'll hit the wall. And that's it. It's 15 seconds. And it's just something, and it's just, you can't take your eyes off it. But he created these snippets of information. And other Alpha Graphics started calling him and saying, hey, can you do ours as well? The last time I talked to him, he was living in Puerto Rico with his wife, who I met. They flew in from Istanbul to have lunch with me. I fed her oysters. I thought she was going to throw up. But he's killing it. He's doing a great job. But it's not complicated. That's it. He zips in, says one thing, zips out. He's educating people. It's interesting. It's creative. It's quick. It's marketing. So when his salespeople call, they say, "Oh, you're the company that's doing those great videos."
I'm suggesting to owners, because it's not sales, but we have another issue with young people, or so everyone says, coming in, staying, doing. And some owners are like, why do I have a problem keeping young people? I said, stop talking to them. Because you start to talk, but you don't finish. You don't come back to them. You don't engage after the first conversation, right? We need to speak with them. We need to do things. We need to pick up and make things happen. But I've said to people, you don't really have great marketing in your company. Why don't you at least get the young people, engage with them and encourage them and compensate them to make little videos for you, to put them on TikTok, to let people know that you exist. I said, A, they're going to market your company, but B, you're building a great base of employees who are going to want to be there and are having fun while they're working.
Yeah.
Print is fun, but it isn't fun all the time.
But
right?
if you're not buying into what we're talking about here, I want you to go to Netflix and look up the David Letterman stuff that he's doing there called My Next Guest Needs No Introduction, and look at the interview he did with a guy named Mr. Beast.
Love that guy. Love that episode.
I was blown away. This guy, every time he does a video, he gets Super Bowl level response. This is the new economy. And this is the new way to make money. My youngest daughter, Madeline, is a board game influencer. She graduated. She got her full scholarship from NYU Shanghai. She speaks 3 languages. This is her passion. So she is incorporating everything she's done. She and her husband, Ollie, she's doing everything she can. And she's a board game influencer, and they're killing it. 10th is called The Board Brains, B-O-A-R-D, The Board Brains. They're on LinkedIn. They're on, not LinkedIn, they're on Instagram. They're on TikTok, and they're hysterical. They make these great videos, but they're monetizing it. And, who am I to say, don't do it that way because that's not the way you do it. Marketing is the new sales. This is the new reality.
I'm telling people that are older than the young people that we're hiring to start watching Gary Vaynerchuk. Yeah. Why? Because we should be watching what the kids and youth are watching, to know what they're seeing and what they're being told, so that we could react. And what is one thing that Gary Vee says to everyone? Don't fucking apologize. Be yourself and be authentic, right? And then when they walk into some places, I'll just say the wees are like, no, you can't do that here. Well, you got to get with the new world. Things are changing. Maybe not. It's like from my parents to me, big change, right? I mean, I thought we all think we're way smarter than our parents. So now I hang out with my kids. I hang out with them and their friends, and I could just sit there and shut up and listen to what they're doing and what they're talking, to get a little insight for, dealing with others. And we want to bring young people in to work with the young buyers that are out there now.
Okay. So then run with that. So what do they want? What do they value? They value communication. They value, I want to swipe, buy. Can you do that at your company? Can somebody swipe, buy? Because if not, you're missing a market, a big market. So, we live in an Amazon world days. I mean, I can take my guitar down. I can say, I can break a string, swipe, buy, and 2 hours later it shows up. So these are this is the way they live their life. This is the way they want to buy as well. You need Amazon level communication. You need Apple level service. You have great communication skills so that people understand our world. And then maybe somebody will answer your phone call.
And the crazy thing is that the owners of the companies are doing that on their own when they're calling Amazon and doing the swipe. Like, they're just not recognizing what they're doing, because it is the same as what the others are doing in front of them. Right? But for some reason, it's like, it just kind of like stops.
They don't make the connection.
I don't understand it. So what are people doing to get people to acknowledge them in a phone or an email or a LinkedIn post or message?
Well, it's got to be the most important skill. If I could only teach somebody one thing, that's it. I'm going to teach them how to connect their product to the business need. I'm going to teach them how to do the research. And this is the answer to you as well, my friend. Why aren't people calling me back? Connect what you're doing to what their needs are. Hey, I was on your website. This is what I saw. This is how I can solve that problem. That's not price. It's solving a business need. I've got something that's going to save you money. I've got something that's going to solve this particular problem, and I've done my research. Connect it. No one cares about you. They care about themselves. That is an 85-year-old truth from Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, the best book on sales ever written, which has nothing to do with sales. You can get what you want when you figure out what they want and help them to get it. So Warren, get back to you. You're solving a problem.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's what you've got to pitch in that call. If you have this problem, I've got the solution. Give me 10 minutes. I'll tell you how. If you don't, that's fine. But I can solve this problem in 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, for sure. Actually, funny enough, I'm on with some people or an owner, and he has some of his teammates on that he brought on the call. And what was interesting was he was liking what we were showing, and some of the others were not. Why? Because you could potentially save yourself labor, right? The person wasn't interested in doing that. The owner was like, oh, I could take my good people and put them back in the place where they belong, not to look after this stuff. So I try to make sure I'm really speaking directly to the owners, because people will sabotage you for their own right. So anyone listening, when you don't know who to reach out to, my philosophy is you go to the top. I mean, if it's a major corporation, good luck. But if it's a entrepreneur-owned business, you go right to the owner, let them guide you to the right person who will then talk to you, because it's easier to go downriver than upriver.
If you call too low in an organization and they say, you want to talk to my boss, you're put at the bottom of their priority list. If you call too high and you get pushed down, you get put at the top of their priority list.
And nobody below is going to call to question the owner.
Right.
Right.
Yep. Your boss told me to call you.
So you have a lot of clients that have been in print for 20, 25, and 30 years.
Yes.
Have they not figured anything out?
Well, they're doing very well. That's why they're my clients, Warren.
Well, that's a good plug for you.
Maybe I'm not charging them enough. Hold on.
No. If you're Bill's client, you're up 15% when this call ends.
Yep.
No, but like, I'm just curious, because like some companies that have been around, you or others deal with a long time, new people come in. Do the people that were up here not know what they were doing to pass it on?
Do they? So
like, does the sales manager, as he's moving up, knows what to do? Does he not pass on what he knows to people below, that they have to come back for more training? Or?
Well, the smart ones invest in training. The smart ones will say, we're going to, we'll even give an employee $250 to spend it any way they want on training. Show me this is going to make you better. You know, the hard part about what I do, Warren, there's a lot of hard parts about what I do.
Yeah.
But one of them is that people don't think they need sales training when the things are going well. And when things are going poorly, they can't afford sales training. But the ones that are really succeeding are the ones who keep saying, teach me more. What more do I need to know? Because that's like the author said, what got you here won't get you there. And the cruel reality of sales is the more successful you become, the less time you have to become more successful. So my summer project is working on an AI agent for time management, because it attacks that problem. And the smart ones will say, yep, that's worth it, because I want to sell more in less time.
I was going to offer to beta test it for you, because my time management skills are off the charts. Bad.
I'll put you on the list. I got a list right here. That's what this is.
Go a little higher if you could. I don't want to be at the bottom. Right? And that's the other thing that I've learned, and I've done it my whole career, is I do a quote, I ask for the order.
Yeah.
I actually joke and say, my mother told me if you don't ask, you don't get it. So that's really why I'm asking. It's her fault. And you try to make a little joke out of it, right?
Right.
But you really want it.
One of the biggest issues is when you give a quote, you're going to get ghosted. So when you give a quote, you need to say, what's next? When is the decision going to be made? How do you want to hear from me? When do you want to hear from me? And the big question, what happens if I can't get you? I'll tell you one of the dumbest things, the dumbest pieces of advice I've ever given. I flew out to Montana. Excuse me. Somebody flew me out there. They wanted me to train their sales team. And there was a guy, this company is printing for less. So they go to a lot of trade shows like ASI, PPAI, the ad specialty. And all these people say, we want to sell print. We want to sell print. Train us. And they go, great. And then they try to call them that following week and they can't get them on the phone. They said 95% of the time, we can't get these people who stood in front of us and said, call us. What do we do? So I had just gotten there and I rented a motorcycle and I went up into Cody, Wyoming, and I was exhausted, had bugs between my teeth from all the motorcycle riding. So I said, give me till the next morning. So I came back to this guy the next day. I said, here's a stupid idea. Get him to pinky swear. Stand in front of him and say, if I call you next week, do you pinky swear that you're going to pick up the phone? And the guy kind of stepped back. I said, try it. So he went to the PPAI show in Vegas, came back, and I happened to come back again. And he said, I'm dying to talk to you. He said, we have a 95% success rate. People will pick up the phone laughing and saying, I pinky swore. So I'm talking to you. I love that.
I love it because they found a way to connect with the people. The people found them. Not only are they, going to be good suppliers, but they've got a sense of humor.
Yeah.
And they asked for the order, right?
Yeah, they closed. So you're calling somebody, here's my price. Warren, I'm going to follow up next week. Do you pinky swear that you're going to pick up the phone? If it's a yes, they will pick up the phone. It's the dumbest piece of advice I've ever given.
I think it's, listen, anything that anybody's going to remember you for.
Right.
Good. Better to be good and funny than to be bad in another situation.
And unforgettable and completely forgettable, I should say.
So we're talking sales. Why do most companies not go through their database and try and restart old clients where they no longer do work, that they don't even remember why they don't do work?
It's something that everybody says they're going to do, but very few people actually do it. Right,
I get it. But my question is, why not? Because when you go to open a new account, sometimes the new customers don't even want to bother because they don't want to take the time to open you up as a supplier in their system.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, so if you already have them in accounting and you call them up and say, hey, we were doing business with you for so long, not really sure what happened, but this is what we do and we could serve you, and the person we're dealing with isn't there. Most of the time they'll say, oh, because most people don't even know who they buy from. That's why Staples does so well with their catalog, right? The catalog just sits there and people in office just call for whatever print they need. But I don't know why people aren't. And then I don't know why owners are not doing it and going back, because then they get the multi-level sell with the salesperson to ensure that they're at every level within the company.
Simple stuff.
Are people just lazy?
No, it's not a matter of that, Warren. This is what I think is happening. Is we are, as salespeople, we are focused on new business, right? We're constantly looking for, it's like you're saying to someone, I love you, I love you, I love you. And they do business with you. And then they move on to somebody else. I love you, I love you, I love you. And they forget about this guy over here. So what's the number one reason why we lose business? It's because the client thinks we've stopped working for them. So yeah, circling back every quarter, every 6 months, and just saying, what more can I do for you? How can I help you? How are you? People want to feel appreciated. If you're not bringing your clients, while you're listening to us, someone's calling on your accounts. When's the last time you brought them a new idea? Because if you haven't, and I trained them, you're screwed. You're in trouble because they're going to outsell you. What have you done for them lately? God, we're just full of joy.
That was in Eddie Murphy's movie Raw. When he holds up his hand to the wife. What have you done for me lately?
That's an obscure reference.
Well, it's what have you done for me lately? So what could I do? I'm just so with do all the people that you do business with that do direct mail do their own direct mail for themselves?
Do they do their own direct mail?
Do they produce direct mail for themselves or just their clients?
I think the shoemakers' kids have no shoes. So I'm going to go with no. They don't do direct mail. One of the best ones I ever saw, by the way, we designed this years ago. Number 10 envelope. On the outside, it said, print is dead. And you open it up and it said, and yet you opened the envelope and now you're reading my letter. Print is not dead. I mean, think about this. You go to your mailbox today. When's the last time you got a customized letter that wasn't an invoice? Do it.
Yeah,
If everybody
no.
else is going right, go left. Everybody else is email marketing. I'm sick of it. Make the personal phone call. You want to get somebody on the phone? Then call them just before the top of the hour. It's the best time to get somebody on the phone.
So when you talk about email, something else that I've done with email is I've sent the email to know that it got there, but never to be responded to. I print out the email. I write a handwritten note saying, I know you got the email. I just want to make sure that you really got the email. So I'm sending you a copy of it. If you
Love
get a
it.
chance, give me a call, put in a number 10 envelope, address it with a pen. And at the very least, they're going to open it and go, okay, this person's persistent or
And
humorous
original,
or original, right? Just to do
authentic.
something.
You used that word earlier, authenticity. I think that's going to be a premium in moving forward. You interviewed my daughter Emma, the AI expert, and I talk to her all the time about authenticity. That's fine. AI me all day long, but the fundamentals don't change. Authenticity still rules.
Absolutely. And that's actually what I get from a lot of people that say, like, even if they don't deal with me, they're like, well, we never met anyone who's passionate or who, goes the distance with whatever you're talking about. I'm going back to direct mail for a minute because we get a lot of owners who are looking to hire salespeople, right? And then they bring them in. And to me, it's an 18-month cycle before someone's comfortable, good, working. Most people only make it 7, 8 months before the owner loses his shit because he can't take it anymore. Not that he's properly trained them or anything, but he has this idea, or she, about how many calls they're supposed to make and do, which everybody could fake anyways. But I've been telling all the owners, like, you should do direct mail before you hire someone. Spend your $1,000 a month on postage, $1,000 on the design. The printing's almost free because you do it yourself, other than the OEM, it gets your clicks if it's digital. But you go to 1,000 people every month at the end of the year. You're hitting those 1,000 people 12 times at least. You have no salesperson who's going to make any call to somebody 10 times. And then if the automatic return on direct mail comes in, you've now built your lead gen up 2, 3, 4%, that they have who to call, let alone the people that are calling and you're doing business directly with the receptionist or your inside person. It's so simple.
Well, I think what I find that's different, Warren, when I was hired as a salesperson in, well, July of 1982, so what's that, 30, 44 years ago,
I
when I
can't
was
go back
hired,
that far.
yeah, that's true. Listen, that's pre-internet, that's pre-voicemail, that's pre-caller ID,
That's
that's
fax machine.
pre-fax machine.
That's actually almost borderline telex.
It's true. We used to jump on our horses and
Pony
ride to
Express.
the call uphill both ways. But that was the day. And I like being 65 because I tell you what, I mean, all this technology that we have on our wrists and things, really, I appreciate that. But they hired somebody. When they hired me to find the lead, qualify the lead, make the call, design the sale, do everything but produce it, then collect the check at the end. But now, and what you're talking about, I totally agree with. The new model is to provide qualified leads on the front end, and then when the job comes in, that's the last the sales rep sees of it. If you can do that, then the sales rep lives in the middle, selling. That's all they do is sell. That's what you want them to do. Plus, you own the relationship as the owner. So when they leave, they say,
By the way, that today is number one, the most important thing. Because if I go back 10, 15 years ago, salespeople would come and go with a book of business. But today it's not like that. Too many companies with their suppliers spend too much time and money trying to perfect something or get it to a certain level. But when you're doing that, that's when the owner should be right in there at all levels with the customer, especially if they get in with the other owner, because owners to owner, we have a different understanding and appreciation of each other, right? And we take what each other says to be real, as opposed to some of the people below us. I mean, I had a buyer once who called me up, and they had a problem because he was late ordering something. And I said to him, like, maybe we needed 100,000 inserts for the next day. And I said, well, let me call you back and see what I could do. So I called him right back and I said to him, listen, I could help you, but there's a $3,000 charge because we're going to take another job off and put yours on. And the 3,000 covers the plates, the paper, and it was a big make ready, big project. The other customer said he didn't mind if I took it off, but you're going to have to pay the restart. And he was like, we're not paying the restart. I said, hang on, I bend over backwards all the time for you. I said, but now this is your doing. And he's like, no, we're not paying the restart. So I said, well, then what are you going to do in the morning when your line goes down? Because that's when you make all your money in the last 3 days of the month. Anyway, give me a hard time. I phoned the owner, who I did not know then. And I said to him, I introduced myself and I said, I'm calling you. I've got a little problem. Actually, I said, you have a problem. I have the solution. And I went through the whole thing with him. And he says to me, run it. It's a no-brainer, $3,000. I said, now I have a problem with the guy, though, in your department.
Yeah, you do.
He says, no, he has a problem with me now. He says, anything, you call me back. We really appreciate your thinking of us and knowing at the end how we're going to get killed if we don't make that final 2 days. It's like, wow, you got to be smarter today. Actually, what it is you can't be afraid. You can't be afraid of your shadow.
Plus, you have to have your client's best interest in mind and know their business in a way that you never had to before. But there's more information publicly available than ever before. So you should never say to a client, what do you do? Or a prospect. You should know, because it's right there on the website.
Well, if you haven't been to the website, if you haven't been to the LinkedIn page, if you haven't gone on the LinkedIn page to the people section of their LinkedIn page to see who's in the company and try to figure out the family thing, who's who, what's what,
Yep.
You got to be crazy.
You don't deserve the order.
Pulling it out there. AI today. How are salespeople managing, or what are they doing, if anything, with AI?
Poorly. They're poorly. They're still, I think they're afraid of it. Actually, I was thinking about this. Emma pushed me into AI, and I was thinking about how I got into AI. And I think there's 6 phases to it. The first one is, In other words, someone says to you, hey, did you know that AI can do X? And you go, The second stage is when you say, wait, what? You circle back. It's like somebody saying, do you know about Notebook LM? Have you ever seen that you can take your entire PDF of your car automobile policy, feed it into Notebook LM, and then it'll kick out a podcast that talks about it. You can ask it questions. You go, wait, what? The third stage is interesting. The fourth stage is show me again. The fifth stage is I want to try it. And then the sixth stage where we need to get to is what if? And that's where that's where my wife, Allison, and I are. We have a problem. Well, what if we could go to ChatGPT? What if we could use Claude? So I think they're underutilizing. I think there's still a lot of fear out there. There's a requirement for a lot of guidance, which is where somebody like Emma comes in because she grew up in the industry. Plug the daughter.
Yeah, always. I plug her too, by the way.
She had a lot of fun with you.
First of all, AI is just a tool.
Yep.
If you don't know what you're talking about and you use AI and you copy paste, then you're a fool. If you haven't read it and know what you're talking about. If you know what you're talking about, AI could just make you sound and be that much smarter, right? I think it's, and I have people go like, oh, they wrote it with AI. Okay, who cares? They didn't write it themselves before anyways. They went to a professional writer. Who cares? As long as what you're reading is what you're happy to read and happy to see and it has benefits and it works, who cares who wrote it? No one ever asked who wrote it before.
I find with my writing, I want my voice in it. I want my authenticity in it. And even though AI can write that in my voice, and I have submitted content that was AI generated. It was an article that I submitted. It was my idea, and I edited it afterward. But now 100% of what I put on LinkedIn, of course, everything I do for printing impressions, it's all organic because I value authenticity. So I care if it's AI written.
But you could have that authenticity even with the AI because you're going to put in what you want it to have, right? You're not letting it put in what it wants, and then you're using it to write. I mean, I find that I'm writing a little clearer, get the point across. Still, I taught it to be me, so instead of saying "dear," it says "hey you." But that was the big teaching that I did. But no, it's been amazing. Even before I speak to someone, I just put in their company, I put in their LinkedIn, I put in what they do, and I say, "Can you give me a roundabout, little summary on who, what, how, and when?" And I got enough in there to chat when it's in a 7 minute call, just to say enough to keep me current and not going, what do you mean? Because the last thing you want to say is, "What do you mean?"
From a
So
sales standpoint, AI augments the fundamentals. So if I want to know who I should call on, I'm going to take the URL of my company and I'm going to put it in ChatGPT and I'm going to say, this is what I do. Find me companies within 50 miles of this zip code that might be good prospects for me. And oh, by the way, I deal with these kinds of companies. So that's number one key to sales success, lead gen. Number two is call quality. Hey, ChatGPT, I'm going to call on this particular company. Here's the URL of my company. Where do I fit? What problem am I solving? Click, 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 boom, answer. But it's still a fundamental. You're not cheating. You're speeding things up. Number three, process. I need a step-by-step process. Hey, ChatGPT. Hey, Claude. This is. I want to make a sales call on this company. I need a multi-step, multi-week process. What should it look like? It's going to give you 3 or 4 of them. The thing that it can't do or shouldn't do, make the calls. So step 4, make the calls, make the calls, make the calls. Run the play. That's on you. But the other 3, you've augmented the 4 fundamentals of sales.
everyone's trying to sell you the AI, but they make the call for you, but do not have AI make the call for you. People don't care to hear a machine, right? The AI people will tell you that it works in all these numbers and how great it is, but most of them are full of it anyways, right? Because they haven't mastered it.
Maybe they will
So
one day, but I still want a human.
but when you get certain things, you absolutely want a human. Okay, a couple of quick questions. Best time to make a call?
Just before the top of the hour. All meetings start on the hour. So just before the top of the hour, somebody's in their office getting ready for the meeting. You want to call someone and not talk to them because you want to hear about what happened at the World Cup. You don't want to hear about their vacation or their weekend. Call them just after the top of the hour. You'll get voicemail.
I want to know everything about them always when I'm chatting with them, right? As that's why you got to learn who they are. I mean, with the fishing, everyone knows me with the fishing. Everyone I meet, my card says founder fisherman. Everyone has a grandmother fishing story, a grandfather. It takes you right off the work thing, puts you into this common area of where you have something where you could smile and laugh. And it's just so easy, as if you've known them after for a long time, when you start talking about the work.
Yeah.
And then I'll send them a few funny fishing pictures or something just to make sure that I'm embedded in their mind and they can't get out. So it's I think more people need to do the same. I don't think salespeople today are like we were back then because they don't know how to read upside down.
That's true. I have a great story about that, but yes, go ahead. Yeah.
No, it's good. Reading upside down was an art, right?
There was, so you'll appreciate this. This is the story as it goes quickly. A sales rep is sitting in front of a buyer and he's presenting his price and he looks down, he realizes that there's a soda can over the quote from his competitor. And as the client is looking away talking, the sales rep is looking to see if he can see the number, but he can't because the can is on top of the price. So the phone rings and the buyer picks up the phone and says, right now? Sure, I can be there in just a second. Yeah, hold on. Yeah. Hangs up and says to the sales rep, would you excuse me? I'll be right back. The sales rep says, fantastic. As soon as he leaves, the sales rep picks up the can, but it's bottomless and full of marbles. The buyer had set him up. The buyer comes back into his kiosk and says, out. But the moral of the story there, Warren, is always slide it out from underneath the can. Don't pick up the can.
Wow. Oh my God. If that happened, I would die. I would die.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Biggest mistake printers make selling today.
They sell print. Stop selling printing. No one cares about printing except printers. People care about their problems. Solve the problem, earn the order.
If you're an owner, stop with the machines on your website. Your customers don't care.
Allison,
they don't even know what they are.
She's a web designer. This is when people say, can you take a look at my website? First thing she says is, get the CMYK stuff off. No one cares.
Well, the video I was watching the other night, the guy's telling you what the machine is, and I'm saying like to myself, dude, I know what it is, and you are boring. Like, so someone who doesn't know, done.
Yeah.
One thing every salesperson should stop doing tomorrow.
Well, I'll be redundant, but
Okay.
I'd say it's, selling print, talking about print. What do you do? This is what I do. If I'm a print salesman, Warren, this is what I do. I help my customers find their customers. You hear that? What are you going to say? What does that mean? Now you're in a great conversation. Hey, Warren, tell me more about your business. How do people find you? What's your differentiator? What's working for you marketing wise? What's not? Now you're in a great conversation about their business, not their printing. So now you're going to get to a problem you can solve, not a job you can quote. You're going to win a job on solution, not on price. Guess which one has profit?
The solution, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand, but anyways, so in closing, you've been at this a long time, and you said you're still going to be at it for a little while. What is it that excites you about print?
What's next? What the next thing? I've got that entrepreneurial spirit. I always have. What's next? If I ever get to the finish line, I'm terrified of retirement. Pickleball cannot be this much fun. So I need that next project. What can you do with print? What's the next thing that's happening that's going to solve a problem, including AI? Great, let's incorporate it. So
yeah, no, it's funny you say that, because the one thing I've always liked about print is, and we deal with a lot of agencies, if you're in labels and packaging, it's a lot of repeat work. If
right.
you're on the commercial side, all projects are kind of new projects, testing the water, doing things. You get to be creative. Today with the embellishment, I just want to touch on embellishment, folks. If you offer anything above CMYK, extra colors, lamination, UV spot, whatever it is, if you're not making samples and putting them out there, get rid of your equipment. You're not going to sell it, and your people won't know what to do. That's the other thing that's driving me crazy. From the day we started, we always had samples. There was one promo I wanted to do. I never got around to doing it, but if someone's listening, great idea. I wanted to take a pair of shoes, do up a really nice box, but only send one shoe into the company with the message that says, hey, we got one foot in the door. How do we get the other one in? Just to be different, right? Make somebody laugh. But maybe I'll still do it just for fun. Closing marks, if you have any.
You heard about Warren's book. You're probably charging for yours. I'm giving mine away for free. So
I'm giving mine away for free too now. Shit.
25 best sales tips ever. See the bottom? It says, let's see if can I flip this? Video. Flip. There we go. I just flipped it. I upped my sales pitch. Up yours. If you go to salesvault.pro/partners, scroll down. You can download this book in a print form for signs or just generic. You have to give up your contact information, but there it is. I wrote this in 2018. We rewrote it last year. It's yours for free.
And I'm sure anybody out there who's going to download it, you don't remember it all, even if you think you know it all. So I still live by, I'm learning something new every day. Even if I've learned it before, I just don't remember. So it could still be new again. Right?
I've known you a long time, and you've gotten smarter and smarter every time I talk to you.
Oh my God, I don't know what to say to that. Thank you.
Well, a wise man would keep his mouth shut.
Well, I like to think because I'm maturing a little. But, but I still wear smaller shoes. They're easier to get out of my mouth when they get stuck. That's not changing.
Funny.
That's pretty good. So great. Anyways, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this session. I hope it was a little bit refreshing for you, especially if you think you knew it all. If you didn't know it all, then for sure it had to be refreshing. You could always give Bill a call. He'd be happy to take you on as a client, maybe after you answer a couple of the questions. You could always join the salesvault.pro. I would highly recommend it. I don't want to teach you sales, but he knows what's going on in the back of his hand, and more often than not, he's right. How's that for a plug?
That's almost good.
Accurate?
Thank you.
Very, very cool. Me, if you want some marketing help, you can give me a call. If you want someone screamed at your company because they're doing something wrong, I'm happy to do that. I'm just trying to have fun in print because it's making me crazy with all the stuff that people don't do. Anyways, all that to say, if you have any ideas, topics, anything you want to hear, you want me to talk about, it'd be my pleasure. Just let me know. Bill, can't thank you enough for coming on board. Always a pleasure.
My pleasure to be here. Last time we talked, lots of phone calls, lots of business. Thank you for that. I look forward to seeing you in person at one of these upcoming events.
Should have negotiated percentage of intake, but we'll save that for the next time. Some things you don't learn.
True.
But hey, folks, always a pleasure. Hope you watched the whole thing. We'll see you in a little bit. Cheers.